Good morning, Bardstown and Nelson County. Welcome to Bradford Brooks. Jim Brooks and Margie Bradford with you this morning. Good morning, Margie.
Good morning, Jim.
Well, Margie, I think everybody's heating system got a good test last couple of days.
A wake-up call, you might say.
Well, yeah, ours did, and we just had a commercial with Carrier Heating and Air, and a shout-out to those guys because this cold snap came and our heat didn't come on.
Oh, okay.
So they dispatched a service tech out, Josh, and quickly diagnosed the problem, and the next morning we had our part. And we have heat again. Of course, now it's going to be 61 degrees outside, so who needs heat?
Well, yeah. But you know Kentucky weather. Don't count on it staying that way.
Oh, that's right. I'm sure it'll be, we'll need that heater again, at least between now and, I don't know, next week probably.
Yeah. Well, no, the woolly worms say that it's going to be a kind of a harsh winter. That's what the woolly worms say.
Now is that when it's more black than orange or more orange than black?
I don't remember the exact definition. I just remember the woolly worm report.
Well, I kind of think they're probably, as far as accuracy goes, they're probably as accurate as most meteorologists.
I would say. It's a crapshoot either way.
Right, exactly. Well, Margie, our government is back open again, thanks to, 6, 7, 8 Democrats who decided to come on board. Now, the interesting thing about this, before we go to our guest, the Democrats were pushing to get to extend the Affordable Care Act subsidies that expire at the end of this year. Now, the interesting thing to me is now the Affordable Care Act, those subsidies were increased during COVID by a Democratic Congress with a Democratic president.
Right.
And I have no problem with the subsidies, but they set the expiration date. And so, and it was never part of the government shutdown or why it shut down. It had been set in 2021 to expire at the end of 2025. And so I have listened to a lot of satellite talk radio, a lot of people complaining that it's a Republicans' fault, that they don't want to extend the subsidies. Well, that ought to be a conversation on its own and not about holding the government closed until some sort of agreement. So I really think now I know that a lot of the mainline Democrats are giving Chuck Schumer and those Democrats that went along with Republicans a lot of grief. But I think the smart thing was opening the government, because Republicans said, we'll talk about it after it's open. Now, whether they get an agreement to extend it or not is another issue. But I really think the extending those subsidies is a good idea, because it's going to affect the poorest of the poor to afford health care. And that's why, and it was the Inflation Reduction Act during Joe Biden's administration that increased those subsidies to help those who need it most.
Right.
And I think keeping people insured is good.
Yeah, well, I tell you though, people are really going to be hurting when those increases come in that are going to be so dramatic.
Right.
Doubling what your cost.
Oh, sure. If there's no extension, right.
Right.
And I think, and it's going to hurt the poorest of the poor the most.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But we're not going to get into a discussion of that whole thing, or we won't be.
Oh, I know. But I just wanted to. I did a little research, and I'd heard too many Democrats complaining about Republicans on this issue when actually it was a completely Democratic regime that set those subsidies in place. And I'm not saying that's bad. And they set the expiration date. So Republicans have no dog really in that fight, except now they're in control and they can control whether those subsidies get extended. And that's a topic for another day.
It is. We could spend a couple hours on that.
Oh, sure. And I'm all in favor of keeping people insured.
Oh.
And I think we both can agree on that.
Yeah, yes, we can.
All right. Enough about that. All right. Well, Margie, I'll let you introduce our very special guest who's with us today and who's been waiting for me to shut up and talk about
get on with the subject.
Get on with the subject.
Well, our guest today's Kelly Bedtelyon. I told you I'd mess it up. Bedtelyon.
Yeah.
She got this fancy last name. It was hard for me to pronounce. And Kelly's the executive director of the Bardstown Foundation for Excellence in Public Education, which is a foundation which was the Bardstown School Board started in 1985.
Wow.
Yes, it was the first in the state, as Kelly reminds us, the first one in the
side of the Mississippi.
Side of the Mississippi.
Is that right?
Because the first foundation
And who was superintendent who had the idea?
Dr. Robert Smotherman, who was he was a new superintendent here in Bardstown.
Right.
And I know this. I was on the school board that hired him.
Right.
And a brilliant man. Brilliant. He was very innovative and did so much in our school system. Where
do you get the idea from?
Well, there was a school district in California who wanted to fund programs that were not paid for by state funding.
Right. Right.
They wanted to do to do programs that they would get no support from the state at all. And so that's what we wanted to do. And the board at that time was looking for ways to expand educational possibilities for our children beyond what was funded by the state. And, like gifted and talented education programs. And with his proposal for this to the board, to explain how that would work, that you would set up a foundation and solicit donations from the community and commercial interests and everything to donate to it, to fund things in the classroom that would not otherwise be able to have any funding, that would help to lift and increase the number of educational possibilities.
Right. I don't know if Dr. Smotherman understood at the time what possibilities that foundation has made possible since its inception.
No, I'm sure he didn't, because it has done so much. Our initial funding was paid for us to start the first 4-year-old preschool program in the state. In the public school system, that the school system was open to all children.
Right.
And that was a wonderful program. And then later on, 3-year-olds. And we're going to talk about all the other things, but
right.
I get a little vivid about this subject. I want to talk about it because I think what they've done is just marvelous. But I'm going to let Kelly talk to you about the program and about where we are right now and what we're doing.
Yeah. So thank you both so much for having me here on your show today. As we sit here and talk about the foundation's beginning in 1985, it's crazy to think that we're celebrating our 40th year. And the preschool program that Miss Bradford speaks about is going strong. It started in with a lot of people who are very familiar with Bardstown City Schools will call the former bus garage hub. We now have staff child care located in that small building on our 5th Street campus, and it grew so much that we have a dedicated preschool right off Templin now, where we take tuition-based students, 4 and 3-year-olds. So so many wonderful things have been started from the foundation. I think the easiest, simplest definition to sum up what the foundation does is that we raise funds that that actually help empower not only students but educators. We really look to fund innovative projects that, like Ms. Bradford said, expand student opportunities and support major initiatives that really shape the future of education here in Bardstown, specifically for Bardstown City Schools students. Those ideas come in all shapes and sizes and forms, and they serve, like Ms. Bradford said, they may serve the gifted and talented student population. They may serve 3 and 4-year-old students, or specifically high school students. It really just depends on what the current time and need is that we're facing. And I love that over 40 years we continue to morph into funding things that are relevant and current for today's students. We continuously change over time. We fund different initiatives in the school district through really 3 different ways. We fund mini grants, which is the most often and probably common form that our employees and teachers know about. And we evaluate mini grants. Teachers can apply for a mini grant, which right now is a $1,000 grant. If they have a creative idea for their classroom, or maybe even a teacher that they co-teach with, they can fill out an application, and our board of directors reviews it, and we may grant them $1,000 to spend to bring that idea to life. Right now, we have some that are being implemented at this very minute that I'm really excited to just kind of talk about, to tell you all a little bit more of what they do. Kindergarten right now, they currently have a mini grant that was funded to bring learning to life. All of our kindergartners, so over 200 kindergartners, are experiencing 3 really unique events that are going to bring their language arts, their literacy curriculum to life. Back in September, they had a nursery rhyme Olympics. So as a parent of a current kindergartner student, they're coming home, they're blending words, sounding words out, and they're beginning to read, looking at a lot of nursery rhymes. And so this particular event that the kindergarten teachers put on brought nursery rhymes to life. They actually had an obstacle course where they had to lay on their bellies and on a board with wheels and navigate around spiders. They had to go to the grocery store and drop in food in a shopping basket very quickly. They brought Twinkle Twinkle Little Star to life by having students climb into a dark, large cardboard space that was developed to have glow-in-the-dark stars, and they had to pick a star that had a letter on it. And when they came out, they had to tell their teacher what that letter was and what sounds it makes. It was really, really cool to see. So that's one event that they have, but those kindergartners have 2 more to look forward to thanks to this mini grant. In the coming weeks, they'll be bringing the 5 senses to life with a 5 sense carnival. And then in January, they're going to bring to life some of the royal stories that they are reading about through a King and Queen's tea party. So that's just one that's funded. We have Miss Turner, our new librarian at the Media Center, who has what she's calling a book buffet that the foundation funded, and she has set up literally a book buffet based on different genres, and students can come into the library, check out one of those books, and then they're required to write a Yelp-like review of the book to kind of share a little bit about that book with their peers. Because I know myself, when I pick up a book, it's normally something that's been recommended to me by a friend or coworker, and that's the idea around Miss Turner's book buffet is to engage kids into reading different style of books based on reviews from their peers. They're more likely to read it.
That's a great idea.
So, yeah.
Great idea. I used to, when in elementary school, I bought I was a big reader of scholastic books, and well, thankfully my parents bought any book I wanted to read. And I've still got a lot of those books at home. I've saved, just their treasured memories. But even though I read all these books, I never really passed on how good a book this was to any of my friends. So if there had been some sort of assignment to do that, then that because I enjoyed it, but I never told anybody about it.
Of course.
I was kind of a nerd because I loved reading books.
Robert Louis Stevenson, I'll bet, was top of the list.
Well, that was one. I was a big fan of Harriet the Spy, several other authors of children's books were high on my list too. But anyway, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, Kelly.
That's awesome.
But that's a wonderful extension of kids. And of course, in the retelling, the review, you have to rethink what you liked, what you didn't. And that's a wonderful process. Writing that down, creating that is that's such a great addition to enjoying a book, but also passing that on.
And I think it will definitely help students explore a genre of literature that maybe they didn't think about. They might realize that they really like historical fiction because they had a friend who read a book and wrote something in a language that registers with them, that they understand. So I'm really excited to see that one implemented. We always fund mini grants too that bring specific exciting new things to the school district, like Miss Martin at the elementary school. She is our music teacher, and last year for 5th grade students, through a mini grant, she was able to bring Shakespeare Kentucky to the school so that they could provide interactive performances and workshops for the entire 5th grade.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then they really maximize that mini grant by having them perform at their family literacy night too that week. So that was
well, of course, the biggest music program in the Bardstown school system is funded by, or started out being funded by, the foundation, which is our strings program, which is just brilliant, and involves how many students now?
We have a middle and high school orchestra. I can't give you the exact number on that, but I know that we have at least 23 at the high school orchestra. But they just wrapped up one of my favorite Bardstown City Schools tradition is their Halloween strings concert, where they actually included some of our other arts departments as well this year. Our chorus program participated, and we'll have band participate as well. But that was kind of something that it's a thrill to sit in the audience and see that stage full of talented young musicians playing so beautifully, and it just really is something. Yeah. For those that don't know about our strings program, that program was started 20 years ago. We're actually celebrating 40 years of the foundation and 20 years of the strings program. But that program allows our students starting in 3rd grade to receive stringed instrument instruction throughout the school day. So we have a teacher on staff, Miss Land, who teaches violin, viola, cello, starting in 3rd grade all the way through 12th grade. Students can participate in that, and that's what ultimately forms our middle and high school orchestra.
Right.
So,
if my 6 children had that opportunity, I would have been thrilled beyond belief, because I had to drive to Louisville every week for violin lessons for 2 of my daughters. And so as a parent, I'm speaking on behalf of parents, that's a wonderful thing for them to be able to do without having, to drive to Louisville and pay for individual lessons.
Right.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which means that a whole lot more students who are able to participate in something like that wouldn't otherwise be able to.
Well, there's a fee associated with those classes when you take them outside of school, and our students are able to receive free instruction from a high quality professor like Miss Land is. So it's tremendous.
Music really is a tremendous gift to give to kids. I mean,
it is
a tremendous enrichment. And I'm, of course, I didn't have music classes, back in the Stone Age, but something about a music education and what they learn, of course it builds confidence, but there's some discipline I think you learn. And of course I'm sure it would take an educator to really break down all the benefits of music education, but I've seen that in my own kids.
Yeah.
And just the benefit of that, and even going on into college, right. I think there's just there are certain skills and something about music education that really benefits kids throughout their lives.
Well, it allows them to express their feelings. It allows all of us. Mm-hmm. I mean, I hear a patriotic song, and I'm standing there with tears running down my face. Right. It allows us to express our feelings that we maybe otherwise would not be able to, and that's got to be good.
Oh yeah.
I have had the interesting encounter where I've interviewed students who found their career path through strings too. In fact, we had a student that graduated 2021 who recently graduated from the University of Louisville with a degree in music, who came through the strings program. So, and wants to teach music now.
That's awesome.
Right. There's definitely a correlation to just academic achievement in general, but it also can help some kids find their passion.
Yes, I agree. That's wonderful. Well, I know that the foundation this last year has funded an initiative that has to do with to AP classes and taking tests. So can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, so this is our third year of funding what I call our College and Career Readiness Initiative. And what it does is remove financial barriers for students, high school students, who are pursuing college or a career pathway. And there are three different things that we fund to help fund either college or kids who are directly going right into a career ready to work. Right. One of those things that we fund is advanced placement exams. So we offer, close to 16 AP courses at Bardstown High School. And
this is in addition to regular courses.
Yes. So your AP English, your AP History, AP Physics, Chemistry, things like that. And it is a rigorous course. It is for students who think that they're going to go to college. You can actually earn college credit if you take the course and you pass the exam. Now, the course itself is free, but the exam costs money for you to take, and you must take and pass the AP exam to be able to
get those credits.
Exactly. Right. So we would see a lot of students who would take AP courses, but may be hesitant or not take the AP exam because of the cost. You're looking at close to $100 and of course the state helps with some financial costs for students depending on their financial status. But even with that, it's still hard for people to afford that, especially when a student may take 2 or 3 AP exams a given year. Right. So that adds up. A family may have more than one student taking more than one AP course. So the foundation pays for that AP exam. So every Bardstown High School student who takes an AP course takes the AP exam at no cost to them.
That is awesome.
It's really wonderful. Awesome. Yeah, this year we had 81 students pass an AP exam, and we had 40 of those students actually earn an AP award, which means that they passed one, depending on what level they were, they passed one or more AP exam with a very high score. So
awesome. That is awesome. Well, see, that was kind of my family when my kids were in school and had the advanced placement classes. It was like, well, because you have to say. I think in those days you had to have a certain score.
You still do a 3.
Okay, and so that. And so how confident are you in your student, or how confident is your student? And if you have a student who's like, oh, I'm not going to do well, which is fairly common among teenagers who are unsure of their abilities, and then you're thinking, well, it's not cheap to take that, but that is so empowering.
Yes.
To be able to know you can take that class and do well, and then take the exam, and it's about, like you said, if you've got a couple of kids in school that are, each has 1 or 2 classes, that for a family that can add up in the cost.
Yes.
So that is so wonderful to. And a huge boost to families and to kids who, want to be challenged.
Well, and we've hear from our teachers who are teaching AP courses that they really like having the students take the exam, all their students, because it helps them kind of see the progress that they're making in class. They're able to measure how successful that they are in a classroom by seeing, I've taught this content, are they able to pass this test, or how are they faring compared to other students taking the exam as well. So.
Right. It's kind of positive. It's feedback for them on the job they're doing as teachers, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. We need to pause now for a commercial message. Actually, I think we're just going to take a break for the weather. It's beautiful and sunny outside here in beautiful downtown Bardstown, and so I can turn the heat down.
And so we all go out and cavort for 4 minutes and come back.
Yeah. All right, you're listening to Bradford Brooks and our very special guest, Kelly Bedtelyon, who is a executive director.
Yes.
Of the Bardstown Foundation for
Excellence in Public Education.
Yeah, in public education. All right, we'll be right back in just a moment. Stay tuned. All right, you're back with Bradford Brooks, Jim Brooks, and Margie Bradford, and Kelly Bedtelyon, who's the executive director of the Bardstown Foundation for Excellence in Public Education. Did I get that right?
You got it right.
All right. All right. And they do such fabulous work, and celebrating how many years?
40.
40 years?
Yes.
Wow. And 20 years of the Strings program.
Yes.
I can remember reading, when that program began, reading stories in the Kentucky Standard about that. And I just, I wasn't a parent. Well, no, wait a minute. I was a parent then when I think about how old my kids are. But just thought what a phenomenal opportunity that was. And it has been for 20 years for kids. And as you said earlier, it's amazing to me when you look at, and of course, the older I get, the more amazing it becomes, how educators in education and opportunities shape the lives of our kids, and how that may fire a neuron, that I want to do this, or, or maybe they learn, I don't want to do this, but, music enriches lives, period, especially young lives. And what may seem impossible to learn an instrument, it opens doors, because it's like, well, if I can do this, I can do just about anything I set my mind to.
Absolutely.
Anyway, back to you, Kelly, and again, just on both our behalves, thank you for coming in today.
Yeah. Oh, thank y'all for having me.
Covering school board over the years, I was always impressed by the projects that I would hear about that the foundation was helping out with. It's just amazing what the work of the foundation has done through the years.
That's great to hear. We couldn't do it without the support of the community.
Yes, and I think, we need to talk about how this is funded.
Yeah.
Right, and then you've got the not students, but the staff and teacher, faculty are also involved in helping support the foundation.
Yes. I do want to talk a little bit about earlier I mentioned that we fund AP exams.
Yes.
We also fund dual credit courses. Dual credit is actually cheaper for students. Those college courses are cheaper for students to take as high school students. And the foundation is helping pay for students dual credit courses who want to take those. So if they are college bound, they can take those with them wherever they go once they depart Bardstown High School, ultimately saving them money and getting them quicker into the workforce.
You might explain what dual credit is.
Yeah, so dual credit, a student could take English 101 or 102 or a basic public speaking course, some of those general education requirements that they might take their freshman or sophomore year of college. They could, if they have the time within their high school schedule, they can take those at a reduced price, and they can take those and transfer them to colleges and universities. And basically, the foundation helps pay for that cost. A dual credit course cost about $230 for a student to take, which is a lot. And the foundation helps cover that cost for students, which is a huge savings for them, and like I said, gets them into their earning their degree quicker and into the workforce. We also fund industry certification. There are lots of students who are going to have a very successful career without going to college, and they can, through our Bardstown Polytechnic Center, take courses and earn what is considered what's called an industry certification. So a certification in whether that might be automotive, or we have a lot of students in our health science program. I mean, it's just blown up.
That is huge.
Yes, they can earn their Medicaid nurses aid certification through there, and the foundation will help them pay for that. They can earn their CNA certification through that. We have a culinary program where students can earn a Safe Serve certification that the foundation can help pay for. They also can earn certifications in our engineering pathway. And what that does is it makes you very marketable to companies that you're going out to look for a job.
So in other words, you can graduate from high school and apply for a job immediately.
Yeah, that certification lets that hiring manager in that specific sector know that you have had and received the training that you need to do that job. So,
and that's a huge plus too.
Oh yeah,
because without those certifications, any new hire is something of a question mark, depending on what the job is and what they need. Of course, a lot of jobs have on-the-job training, but even with the certification, lets them know that you're willing to follow a curriculum, and and that it gives something. It will help employers make decisions.
Yeah, well, they'll have a lot of the basics out of the way.
Yeah, especially, I will tell you, there's never going to be a shortage, of jobs in healthcare. I don't think.
Absolutely.
And so that healthcare pathways is huge, and there's so many opportunities out there for students who want to continue on too.
Lots of different job opportunities in health science.
Sure, so that's awesome.
Yeah, and every dollar that we receive is directly invested into students here at Bardstown. So whether that is through a unique program like Strings, or something like a mini grant, like our kindergartners that are experiencing these really unique hands-on activities for literacy, or like it's our new college and career initiative where we're paying for an AP test or industry certifications. All of those go directly to students and ultimately benefit our community. Preparing students for the workforce in hopes of them coming right back here and getting a job at a local hospital or local engineering firm or nursing home or restaurant, whatever that may be. I see that investment coming back to the community.
And that's a huge benefit for the community.
Absolutely.
As well as the students and their parents.
Yeah, because a lot of students grew up here, went to school here, and would like to stay here and start a family and live here.
Absolutely.
So and that all really depends on employment, gainful employment. So the Polytechnic Center and is a great way to it's awesome. I've told my son about this. He's working on his second bachelor's degree, but this time in IT, and he'll finish up next semester. But he, I tell him these things about that what's happening at the school system, and he's a little jealous. He's like, I wish I was. In a way, he wishes he was back in high school and had these opportunities. Mm-hmm. And I know, he's a smart kid. He would have excelled. He would have flourished, having all these opportunities. And probably, knowing him, he would have trouble deciding which pathway, what he really wanted to do. He'd want to do them all, probably.
Well, but that's the beauty of it, is that they have an opportunity to explore those different pathways while they're students, and hopefully save themselves some money after they graduate by having experienced and been exposed to these different industries to know really where their heart is and what they want to do.
Mm-hmm. Right. And there's so many trades out there that, are really, you can make a good living. Mm-hmm. You don't necessarily need a college education. I'm not against college education, but there's plenty of need for skilled laborers and skilled employees who can follow directions, who have the basics in in industry and in culinary and all this. So I think that there's great careers out there.
Right.
And I think Polytechnic Center is a great way to help kids. Define what they want to do,
and help them maybe identify talent they didn't know they had.
Well, sure, absolutely.
Well, talk to us about how the foundation gets its money. The money has to come from somewhere.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about that.
Well, we are very, very fortunate that the Bardstown Nelson County community values education and the educational opportunities that students receive. And so these are donations that come from local business, parents, community members who see a value in their investment into the foundation. And as Ms. Bradford knows, being a board member, right now we are currently in our annual giving campaign. So we have a mail campaign where we solicit and ask business and community leaders to make a contribution, but anyone can make a contribution, no matter the size or amount of it. We will put it to good use, and you will see a return on that investment. You can check us out, make a donation, or even actually see some pictures of some of the opportunities that we're funding at our website, bardstownfoundation.org.
And it is a good way for people to remember other people, or to honor them, commemorate them, because it is of lasting benefit and something that that you can think about and do that every year. I know that my donation every year is in honor of my husband, my deceased husband, and so it's a way of honoring the people we want to remember.
And I think too that there's no doubt that your donation to the foundation is going to change lives.
Yes.
The work that the foundation does is absolutely incredible, and the opportunities that it expands for our students in the Bardstown City School System.
Well, tell people how they can donate.
Yeah, so you can either donate by visiting bardstownfoundation.org and clicking on the donate button. You can make a contribution there. You can do a one-time donation. You can sign up to do monthly donations. We also have people who decide that they want to donate stock to us, and we have done that in the past. You can make a contribution, what I call a legacy gift, by making a contribution to our endowment campaign, because I just shared with you all that we're celebrating 40 years, and with that endowment fund, we want to keep going another 40 and then some with the Education Foundation. So no matter the size of your gift, it will make a big difference. We can use those funds to either fund an innovative idea from a teacher with our $1,000 mini grants. It will help us with our college and career readiness opportunities that we're funding. For the past 2 years, we have funded that at $15,000 a year. This year, we just committed $20,000 to cover AP testing, industry certification, and dual credit courses for high school students.
Well, I think the mini grants to me are fascinating, because that gives your teachers an opportunity to, of course, they have their job as teaching, but to be creative and to really think outside the box and look at ways to innovate in education. And that's, there's nothing better, I think, than helping, teachers come up with, to fund these innovations in education.
And the teachers themselves donate.
Yes, they do. We have what we call a Second Century Club, and we have teachers who make monthly contributions from their paychecks from the foundation, because they've seen the value of either themselves or, the person who shares the classroom next door to them has received a mini grant, or some of them, many teachers also benefit because their students are students at Bardstown, and they've been touched by a mini grant. Those mini grants, really, I look at those as they're extra. These are extra opportunities for students that we wouldn't be able to fund otherwise. They are things that aren't covered by state and federal funding that we receive. They truly are unique and memorable experiences for students.
It allows the teachers to be a little creative.
Yes.
Coming up with something that's different.
Yes.
And, we all know that, in being presented with things, the new shiny thing is what gets our attention. And you certainly got to have the attention of a student in order to teach them.
Absolutely. And sometimes those mini grants really pilot a program that we've seen become so successful that the school has taken it on a much larger scale, or even the district has. So I love when that happens, and we see it grow beyond just that classroom.
Yeah. Can you think of anything in particular, any project in particular that's done that, other than our strengths program? Well, and that was a little bit more than a mini grant, but we have an individual at the middle school, Mr. Jeremy Schultz, who he's a math teacher, but he's super creative and is always coming to us for things. And I think it was 2 years ago we funded the purchase of cameras for his students. He wanted to teach them digital photography beyond selfies with their iPhones. And he has grown his, what he calls TNN, the Tiger News Network. It is a middle school news station that they produce in English and Spanish, and have started to dabble in Japanese. So that one has just taken on its own life. He now has equipment to assist with that program that is extra. It's not, he doesn't have a dedicated class to this. This is all before school, after school, that students are doing it, and it's sparking an interest in those students who then can take advantage of our media and arts pathway at the high school. But he's built that, and it's just continuously grown and become this big thing at the middle school, all from receiving $1,000 for some equipment, and he's constantly adding. Most recently, this is not something that the foundation has funded, but he
has started a DJing service with students. So he's got all kinds of branches of this, digital group of students he's working with.
Oh, the kids are loving that.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. And especially as digital and as visual, there are so many. I create content, a little content on YouTube from time to time, and I have no background in digital photography except, I can hold a camera. Back in the film days, I called myself a brute force photographer because I'd go to an event and I would take 7-8 rolls of film and I would shoot every frame and try to get as many exposures as possible, looking for one or two that I could use with the newspaper. And that usually worked, but the guys in the front office didn't understand why I used so much film to try to do that, but in the news business.
But that's what they do.
You have to have.
You got to click.
You've got to have pictures. So yeah, exactly, and that's exactly what I did. So
you could have benefited from Mr. Schultz's group. He's got some kids who are solely dedicated to sound on his TNN. Some that are solely dedicated to actual still photography. He has actual anchors. That's just their job, is delivering the news.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, lighting and all that.
That is so cool. I will tell you, just speaking in front of a camera can be intimidating. I mean, for me as an adult, much less, middle school, that is just so cool.
Yeah.
And that those are experiences that will pay off so much in the future. I don't know. The students probably don't think of that while they're doing this.
Well, they're thinking of the fun they're having doing it.
That is true.
I think this group of kids have. Last year they went to WDRB and actually got to sit in and record their episode of TNN from the studio using WDRB's actual equipment.
That's awesome.
So they were excited. I got to tag along, so I got to see their anchors actually sit behind the news desk, and their sound engineers actually got to meet with their sound engineers and sit in their room and see exactly what they did. So they are. It's impressive. I tell students this all the time. I was not as together as they are in high school and middle school, thinking about their future. I'm so impressed with the young people of today.
Absolutely, because I had other issues that were on my mind back in those days, and actually even high school curriculum in those days really was more about getting through the year and getting through the semester. And students were not necessarily career focused the way we are.
Well, you had a curriculum,
right,
and that was it.
Right.
It was the state curriculum.
Right. So,
there wasn't a lot of room for innovation.
Right. That is true. Though, I will tell you, one of the most creative teachers I had as a senior, J.W. Mattingly, and I know you know J.W.
I know J.W.
Yeah, and he was fresh out of college. He was a teacher at Bethlehem, and he came in like a windstorm because he was new and innovative, and we did some really interesting creative things in the classroom that I hadn't seen before. Of course, I was this parochial education. It was pretty cut and dried, straightforward. But
he came to Bardstown, and he's been a member of the Bardstown faculty for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Or the central office, and various things.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, J.W. was quite a new teacher back in the day.
I'll have to tell him that
when neither of us
next
had
time I
gray
see him.
When neither of us had gray hair. Yeah. All right, well, Kelly, we're just about down to the wire. You might tell us again how we can find out more about the foundation's work and how to donate.
Yeah, Please look us up online at bardstownfoundation.org. You can see lots of pictures of the mini grants I talked about, as well as our major projects that we're funding, and you can even make a financial contribution there by clicking on the donate button. And please know that every dollar that is invested in the foundation stays right here in Bardstown and really makes a lasting impact on our students' educational journey.
Absolutely, and I think so here's for 40 years of innovation and 40 more, and
many more
beyond that. Because
if we keep that foundation well founded, we'll be able to do that.
That's right.
Thank you all.
All right, thank you so much, Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly.
All right, well, that'll do it for this edition of Bradford Brooks. Margie and I are still putting our heads together in the kitchen about next week's show.
Next week.
But we will we'll be back next Wednesday with another studio guest. Until then, hopefully the weather will stay warm, so get out and enjoy it. Take care. We'll see you next week with another Bradford and Brooks.